done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we are Through on Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam and as always I'm joined by my co-host and brother from another mother, Elliot.
Switching up a little bit this week.
I always say it's best friend and it's like everyone knows that, so I want people to know just how much you mean to me.
Yeah, nice.
That's all right. What a soppy way to start. How are you this week?
It's been a good week. There's been a lot of big football matches. It's been an enjoyable week. How's your week been?
Do you know what? As I said to you, how has your week been? I've been thinking to myself, what have I done this week? I don't think I've really done anything this week. It's been at work.
Watch football.
Other than obviously the main talking points obviously of this podcast literally happened 2 days ago and today.
And yeah, about 5 minutes ago.
But it's about 5 minutes we just set up recording. So I think there's no better place to start. Bayern Munich are the Champions League winners this year. Everyone hold the press. Someone from Through on Goal made a prediction and it actually came true. Wow.
That'll be the front page, won't it?
That's the no context news. That.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think anyone could really argue with Bayern being the Champions League winners this season. I think they said they've won every game this season in the Champions League.
11 games or something like that. They've gone unbeaten.
And yeah, I mean, the biggest shock to come out of tonight really was that Lewandowski didn't score.
No. What did you make of the game? So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say it was like, it was a bit boring. And yeah, I know they're both really attacking, but they've both got really good defending. So, it's about trying to break that down. I think tactically, PSG and Bayern were like spot on against each other, like head to head. Like they knew where to defend against. They knew how to stop that player and how to get across. I thought it tactically wise, I think it was brilliant.
Yeah, sort of an entertainment wise. I mean, finals are never the best games because it's about not losing rather than winning, really. But tactically, yeah, it was a really sort of interesting battle. And although they are two very attacking sides, PSG are very much, they've got the pace on the counter-attack. They've got a deadly front three. Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria can just attack so quickly. Yeah. Whereas Bayern Munich are a bit more sort of dominant. They'll happily have 75% of the ball. They'll pass it between them. They're still a very quick team.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, Lewandowski isn't going to catch anyone on the counter-attack.
No, and like that, it was about the 80th minute, I think PSG had a goal kick and they play it out from the back and then immediately there's these Bayern players just straight on them, like really, really pressing. And you like seeing that kind of, like they were just putting in every tackle right to the end. And I don't think they held it in the corner once.
No, off the top of my head, I don't think they
I understand why teams do it, but when it's a little bit of a bugbear, just like, I don't know. That's a thing that I'll get over myself. But no, let's talk about Neymar. Now, he in the semi-finals was so good against Leipzig.
Yes.
And
if you ignore the first 5 minutes when he missed that glaringly obviously chance.
Let's not talk about that. And then obviously since the restart, he's been very, very good for PSG in the Champions League. But how many times has he been the title of this podcast? Yet he misses. Sorry, that was poor. That was really poor. The name of the podcast or anything. But how many times has he been through literally one-on-one with the keeper and he's just fluffed the chances? He did it again today. Today was probably more of a better save from Neuer, but for a player of Neymar's quality, I still think if you're in that angle, you should be at least scoring or on target. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. You think it's these big games where the big name players really need to sort of stand up and be counted, really, because beyond the front three, there isn't a lot of big name players in PSG, and he's got to be scoring those chances. He's got to be the big player in the big game, and tonight he wasn't today, really.
No, and Mbappe had that one just golden chance when it came back to him.
Yeah.
He's got either side of the goalkeeper to aim at, and he just shoots straight at Neuer.
I can see that maybe he's a bit surprised he's got that back, because I mean, I know it's Ander Herrera. He's not the most prolific of goal scorers ever, but I think Herrera had a better opportunity to shoot than pass.
Yeah, I can see that. Since obviously the Champions League has come back, another Bayern player, Thiago. Now he has been so good for Bayern. Well, he's been so good for Bayern, just not just obviously since the Champions League restarted, but just in general. The way he just finds a pass, it looks just so. He doesn't look like there's any effort in anything. It was Kimmich. It was the cross for the goal, wasn't it? Like Kimmich back to Thiago at the end of the post. There was no it didn't even look like he just run up to kick the ball, if that makes sense. He just floated it into the back post, and there he is. Whoever gets him this season, obviously probably Liverpool, it looks like. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player, and he can just control a game. I mean, it does look like Liverpool are going to get him, but I wouldn't be massively surprised if Man City came in with a late offer, because obviously Guardiola's used him at Barcelona when he came through as a youngster. I presume it was him who bought him at Bayern Munich, and he's a fantastic player.
Would you not think in that Man City team there'd be like too many cooks?
I think there has been for a few years, but it still works.
It is working well for them, to be fair. No,
they play sort of a front five, and then they just, it's almost as if he just picks the names out of the hats some weeks.
So the talk of the best goalkeeper in the world, a couple of years ago, Manuel Neuer would always be top of the list, or at least top three. Always, no matter who you spoke to. And recent years, there's not so much talk of him anymore. I know I think he's had a bit of difficulty with injuries. I think it was last season. I think he struggled with injuries, and obviously everything's coming up in this. Ter Stegen, obviously, he's coming through in Germany, probably looking like he's going to be the German number one. However, today, it's like, I'm still probably one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Don't forget about me. Because his right leg is incredible.
I would have had him down as man of the match for tonight. I think he was absolutely brilliant. He kept Bayern in the game. It's a big reason as to why they won it. And I think he had a couple of seasons of sort of troubled with injuries.
Yeah.
And I still wouldn't say he's even particularly close to Oblak, because you think of, it was the Chelsea game. It was the Chelsea second leg, Chelsea's goal. He spilt it back into the middle for Abraham, didn't he?
Yes, we talked about that, yeah.
And the world's best has got to be sort of cutting out mistakes like that.
I mean, I know it's not like an excuse, but he is 34, Manuel Neuer, so he is past his prime. It is, I think that's the fact. However, he is still that kind of sweeper keeper. He still plays the same. Like, he hasn't really changed his game at all, and it's really good to see. And as I said, he's lifting the Champions League. So but he's absolutely kept the minute, like that save. It's that second save that he made from Neymar when Neymar tried to cross it back into the box.
Yes.
You tend to see goalkeepers maybe try and get back to their front post, but he's not. He's diving in the way of that coming back in again.
Attack the ball again.
It was really good to see. So yes, I think Bayern Munich. I had it. I've said it. I think one of the first podcasts. I think I said it. I think they'll win it. And watching them play today, there was never any doubt. I think they started the quickest. I want to touch upon though. PSG did have chances. They can't just say, "Oh no, they had some good chances to win the game, or at least bring it level." Didn't maybe that's just that's their first ever Champions League final.
Yeah.
A lot of players haven't been in that Champions League final before. Obviously, Neymar's won it. Mbappe's won the World Cup, but against a different kind of situation. So, congratulations to Bayern Munich. Congratulations to me as well. I'm in those celebrations as well for guessing it right. Let's go to the Europa League final, which was the miles better game compared to today's. Literally, in the first 3 minutes, there could have been a red card and there was a penalty. Yeah,
it was an absolutely loopy game. And what I just said like 2-3 minutes ago, that finals are never the best of games. Well, this is the exception, really.
That was the exception,
It was an unbelievable game. I think it 2-2 by about half an hour in, or 25 minutes in, or something like that.
Yeah, it was. And Seville, I don't know what they've got with the Europa League. They win the Europa League, go into the Champions League, go out in the group stage, come back into the Europa League, win the Europa League, go back into the Champions League. It's rinse and repeat. So they won it 3 years in a row. People that listen on the regular know that me and Elliot, we love a good stat. We love a good stat.
Yes, we do.
Jesus Navas won his first... This is his third Europa League, 14 years after his first.
Wow.
That's fair. That's fair enough to him. And let's not talk about the fact that I had Inter Milan to win this one. Let's focus on the Champions League. People care about that one more. Well done, Sam. But I want to talk about the eventually winning goal. Was it Alberto Carlos, or whatever his name is, centre back for Sevilla? Diego Carlos, thank you. Bicycle kick, not going in, but Lukaku's like, let me be the hero. Oh.
This is also after, didn't he do his hamstring and they just taped it up? Oh, you could carry on.
It's interesting to note, though, in that game, Lukaku equalled Ronaldo's record for most goals scored in a season for Inter. I think it's 34.
Oh, wow.
I think he did. And for his debut season, and we all know Lukaku is a quality player. And, obviously didn't show it at United, but he showed it at Everton and West Brom and now Inter. Yeah, it was obviously important to note that he still did break that. But yeah, no, what? I get it. I think there's that instinct. You can tell in that moment he's not a defender. Do you think maybe a defender would have known that's going wide, or do you reckon you were still stuck a foot in?
I think you've always got to stick a foot in, because if you leave that and if it does go in, then yeah, I think you've always just got to clear it, and it's just not worked out for him on this occasion. Yeah.
So would you not put that down as a Lukaku mistake? Would you say that is just that's just unfortunate?
That's just unfortunate. He just didn't kind of get the connection he wanted on the ball, and it's diverted it into the goal.
Yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, it happens. Did you see the players' reactions? Everyone's reaction when that went in, like Handanovic.
Yeah.
God, hands in the hand.
But I think every final should be decided by a centre back doing an overhead kick.
Well, I love the fact that, because obviously you could argue, should he have been on the pitch? Because he brought down Lukaku for the penalty, which was the third game in a row. He did it against Traore at Wolves. He did it against United. I can't remember who it was against, but he did it against United. Then he did it at Lukaku. I can imagine that team talk, just like everyone goes on the pitch. Right, Carlos, come here for a second. Right, just this game, please don't give away a penalty. Yeah, that's fine. 3 minutes later,
the next time the ref blows the whistle.
For crying out loud.
Incredible, yeah. But they've won every one of those games.
Yeah, that's right. They've end of the day they've won it. Do you think he should have still been on the pitch? Do you think it was a red?
I can see why a red could have been given, but I think there is cover coming across. Is he going to get there in time? I don't know, but I think the ref's partly given that on how early it was, because if you give that red card penalty 3 minutes into the game's as good as over as soon as it's begun.
I think the contact as well did start outside of the box, and then it started to get more. Yeah, I know there was a player coming across, but I don't think he was getting there in time. I think Lukaku just needs to put it onto his left foot, and that's a goal opportunity. And I would argue that you've seen him given. You've definitely seen him given. It would have made for an interesting game if it was a red. However, centre-backs just scoring galore. This Champions League, this whole Europa League and Champions League. Like, who is it? Godin scored. Carlos scored bicycle kick. Obviously, Marquinhos has had a cracking couple of games for PSG in the Champions League. It's brilliant to see. But no, Seville, 6th time winning it. The Seville Europa League. They're probably going to rename it.
Yeah, I can only presume that they're appealing to UEFA to not be put into the Champions League and just go back into the Europa League.
It's a good story about their manager, though. Obviously, he was sacked by Spain to take the Real Madrid job, and then he was sacked 14 games, something like that, into the Real Madrid job. Yeah. Went into Seville, and I didn't realise just how much of a rebuild Seville did at the beginning of the season. I think they really brought in a lot of players. Don't know exactly, but I did read up that he's completely built the team back up from ground up, and they just do it.
Wasn't that Lopetegui's first trophy as well?
Yes, his first senior trophy.
I think he was in tears on the pitch as well, pretty much.
I love it. You love it, like, obviously not in a bad way, but like you just that kind of emotion coming out. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So, Bayern Munich Champions League winners, I think they're a strong shout for next season as well, because they're adding Leroy Sané to the squad.
Yeah, we know how good Leroy Sané is when he's on form. He can be getting 30 goals a season in that league. And, who do you drop, though? Because do you drop Coman? Do you drop Gnabry? Because interesting fact about Coman, I think he's 24 now, and for every season that he's been playing professional senior football, he has won the league every single season.
Oh right, yeah, because he won it. He won the French league, didn't he? Then to Bayern, and then
so he's won the French league. He's won the Italian league at Juventus, and he's obviously won 1 million Bundesligas. And he's actually got more league winners medals than years he's been playing professional football, because because there was I think one of those seasons he was on loan to Bayern and went in January, so he got winners' medals from Juventus and Bayern Munich.
Oh my word, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And like, I wouldn't even no disrespect. He scored the winner in the Champions League final, and he's still 24, but he's not someone that I consider world class.
I'd agree with you on that, yeah.
So the fact that he's got quite the stat and quite the trophy cabinet like that, okay, fair enough. And he's as I said, he's not world class. I know he probably does. He has influence and he has helped, in a lot of those games. So fair play. I think Man United were linked with him because it doesn't look like Sancho's getting over the line. So I think Coman they were looking at. So yeah, I could probably see that happening.
I mean, he guarantees you to win the league, so why not get him?
Yeah, exactly. Get him just because you can win the league. I'm sure everyone in the Premier League will probably be looking at him. So, yes, Champions League, obviously, Bayern Munich, worthy winners, I think. And I said strong contenders for next season. Seville, Europa League. Are we going to consider them as contenders for next season if they drop out of the group stage?
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, the weekend before the season starts is our prediction episode. So obviously we'll have the Champions League and Europa League and all the leagues. So I'm looking forward to that. Major news, obviously, coming out in English football this week is that we now know the fixtures for the upcoming season. Premier League was released on the Thursday, I think at 9 o'clock, and Leeds, I mean, could they have asked for a harder start to their first game back in 16 years? Away to Liverpool, that's difficult. Probably not so much difficult as if there was fans in the ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
still, a decent sort of way to see how Leeds are going to be this season is to compare it to Norwich of last season. They started away at Anfield, and again, they won the league. They won the Championship going up to the Premier League, and that ended. Was it 5-1 in the end?
I think 5-0. I think it was 5-0 to Liverpool. 5-0, but Norwich looked good.
Yeah, and it'll be good to sort of see on there how far Leeds are off a decent Premier League side. Because if they go and get a point, then you're thinking, oh, Bielsa is actually a genius. But
good start here, yeah, good start.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I don't think the first games really stand out. Me and you were mainly waiting for Friday, weren't we? Because we were like, as long as nothing happens with Gillingham v Hull before October 5th, I think it's October
1st. It's just October.
October 3rd. Oh, October. In general, where fans would be allowed back in the stadium. So we were praying, come on, let's just have a Gillingham Hull in October,
November
onwards.
Or something. Yeah,
I don't care. It could be Hull first and Gillingham after. I don't care. Fixtures are released. First game of the season. Gillingham at home. Who are they at home to? Hull City.
3 weeks' time.
In 3 weeks' time, which means Hull miss out on probably one of the most iconic away days.
Oh, is that away end?
The Brian Moore stand.
That away end. I wanted that in February. I wanted that in February at -5, and I wanted to say, yes, I've done that.
Because we were going to go home and away.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I was obviously each time, I'd be in the home and then be in the away. We're still obviously going to be in the opposite corners when we're watching. We're going to, I'll be wearing my Gills shirt, you'll be wearing your whole shirt. Well, I think we're obviously planning on hopefully watching that together. Yeah. There's still nothing's really been said about how they're showing it. I'm assuming it'll be on iFollow or something, but hey ho. But first game of the season.
It's gutting, isn't it?
I was so gutted about that. Now, March 27th, obviously there is Gillingham away to Hull, which is not far away from me, obviously. So what we're planning, we're fingers crossed, if this COVID can just do one. There you go. You said you heard it from me first. Sam tells COVID to do one.
Coronavirus no longer exists.
Yeah, because the Through a Goal podcast told it to do one.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed we can get to that game. Obviously, again, predictions are going to happen next couple of episodes. Gillingham have made some good signings.
Yes.
Now, they've made some statements of intent, and I think we're linked with Danny Rose, Mansfield striker, who played under Evans.
Right, makes sense.
When he was at Mansfield, and apparently, looking at some of the tweets, Danny Rose played some of his best football under Evans, so that's good to know. Yeah, oh God, we've got a couple of Arsenal loanees, an attacking midfielder and a centre-back, obviously in Sack Melody, because I thought, well, that's going to be difficult. We signed Robbie McKenzie, obviously was released from Hull, and I asked you, what's he like?
Yeah, and I think he didn't have the best of seasons last season, but he was kind of played out of the position. He was played at right back. His best positions are through the middle, whether that be at centre back or defensive mid or something like that. But his best game for us was against Chelsea in the FA Cup, and I want to say it was Pedro who he kind of kept hold of all game and had a really good game against him. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't keep hold of him, simply because going into a lower league, and I think League One he could thrive in, and if he does, he'll be thriving in it for Gillingham.
I really hope so. I said it's a really good start to the season, and obviously getting Kyle Dempsey as well from Fleetwood, big statement signing, because as you said, I think even Hull
We've been linked.
You were looking at Doherty, and then obviously if he didn't. So right now, I say it every season as kind of a you never know kind of joke, top six, but I'm genuinely really pushing.
It's the most realistic it's been for a long, long time, isn't it? Really.
Especially if Gillingham carry on, when the season ended, if they carry on that kind of form and that kind of, difficult to break down, because we were keeping clean sheets for fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But that's the thing, but we weren't scoring. Got old Jonathan Day and striker we signed from Northampton, Frank Voos, begins with a V, can't say it. Okay. It begins with a V. Up front, and he's really building a squad around him. I'm excited, and I'm really excited for this Hull game, this Gillingham Hull game, because as I said, it's the first time in our lifetime that we've seen it.
Yep.
Last game, Gillingham did win.
It was in 1985. It was 10 years before I was born.
We are going into this game on form.
Last time they
beaten
on the form guide.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the full head-to-head guide. Gillingham won the last game, so
yeah,
that's right. But no,
so I'll be looking for an upset.
yeah, but it's all, I think, coming from Gillingham, who've been in League One the most, a lot longer. Seem to be quite a constant team in League One, League Two. Playing Hull, literally first game of the season, from a footballer perspective, a team that's just been relegated, who don't have a kit. We
don't have a sponsor.
I haven't seen any tweets about you playing any games. I'm sure we'll get to that in a second. So looking at this, in 3 weeks' time, we're playing, this team that don't seem ready.
Yeah.
Gillingham won against Colchester and lost against Reading. Only 2-1 and looked good against Reading, apparently. Apart from a defensive mistake for the goal. But I'm excited. And then obviously our next game after that is Wigan, like another team who's just been relegated. So I don't know. I'm happy.
I mean, if you get 4 points from like the first couple of games, I suppose you'd take that, wouldn't you?
I absolutely would. In no disrespect to Hull, obviously more towards the March 29th one, might have different opinions. But right now, I'm feeling quite confident with the whole game. I'm not going, I don't know. Let's hear from you, Hull fan, the other side of this. What are your thoughts on your pre-season and everything?
So I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how well we've bought, to be honest. I thought maybe we'd look to kind of just consolidate in League One for a few years, but we've brought in a few very good signings who have League One pedigree and have had very good seasons in League One. Like Richie Smallwood was with Blackburn when they were in League One. One of their better players. He played defensive mid, which then allowed Bradley Dack to get the creativity that he had that season. Got Louis Coyle, right back, who I think got Fleetwood's Player of the Year at least one of the last couple of years. And Greg Doherty, now just brought in from Rangers, seems a bargain at 400,000. He's played, I think he got Shrewsbury's Player of the Year when he played for them a couple of years ago, and we're buying well. But yeah, like you say, as far as I'm aware, and I'm aware of most things Hull City wise,
you are indeed.
We haven't had any friendlies yet. The Carabao Cup kicks off from time of listening, 10, 11 days. And yeah, I'm not aware of us having any friendlies. We haven't released any kits or even like a spoiler or a teaser for a kit. And yeah, it does seem like we're a bit unprepared. But then obviously we've had a season more recently than Gillingham had.
No, that's fair.
But that bit of season that we had did not go well. I think we need to start playing games soon, and I'm quietly optimistic just in terms of how well we've bought. I don't think we'll lose to Gillingham first game of the season, but I don't think it'll be an easy game at all.
Okay.
Because you say, Gillingham are kind of recruiting very well, and they're recruiting. They're becoming a very Steve Evans side. They're very physical, and they'll be a team that not a lot of people will want to play.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, things you love to hear. So yeah, we're obviously looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to those podcasts. As I said, that Gillingham Hull podcast has come around a lot earlier than we expected.
Yes,
when we were doing it. So,
and at least 3 weeks earlier than we'd hoped.
Yes, which is annoying because we would love to have, been there and told our experience, but instead we'll be telling everyone our experience watching the game on the sofa.
Yes.
Which, everyone kind of has that experience. Small European roundup, nothing huge. Obviously, the main talking point is Ronald Koeman is now Barcelona manager, and he's made it clear who he kind of wants in the team and who he's willing to let go. Obviously, quite a lot of dead wood in that Barcelona squad that has built up recently. Messi is obviously in that I want you to stay, let's build this team. But Messi, I don't know. This is the first time in a while that I've truly looked at accounts of Messi, like headlines and articles, and I've gone, could, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing on Koeman, I think that's a good appointment. I mean, I know he hasn't, until managing Holland, he hadn't managed any massive clubs, like sort of the best clubs in the world sort of thing. He'd had good spells at Everton and at Southampton, but...
I would argue maybe not so much at Everton. Southampton,
he had a good spell.
But I think,
the thing is, at Barca, I think the kind of style of plays isn't down to the manager. They play the Barca style of play. And Koeman, who is former Barcelona, I think he's their record goal scorer for a defender. He just took like every free kick. Yeah. I think he scored like on average 1 in 3, which is good for a striker.
Wow.
And so he knows kind of what Barcelona are about. And I think he'll be a success, or at least more of a success than the previous manager has been. And now Messi wanting to leave, again, up until recently, I thought, no, he'll end his career at Barca. But he seems to have really been upset.
Yeah, the Barcelona chairman seems adamant that he will end his career at Barcelona. And, if he does, then brilliant. There is a lot going on in the hierarchy behind the scenes of Barcelona that is just, I don't think like the media's having really scratched the surface. I definitely think there's a lot more. Obviously, Abidal has... Was he sacked? I think he was sacked. He didn't leave. I think he was sacked.
The interesting thing with that was Abidal was given the job to sack Sentien, the now former manager, for only Abidal to be sacked later on, which...
that's a bit, it's a bit odd. So it'll be interesting to see if they can at least mount some sort of Champions League challenge next season. Because Copa del Rey and the La Liga, for Barcelona, I think they're happy. They want to win the league and everything like that. It's that Champions League. That is what they want to bring back to the new camp. And it just seems to fail at the quarterfinals each time. So, it would be really interesting to see how they do next season. Obviously, they need to recruit well if they've put quite a few players up for sale. So it'd be interesting to see how they recruit if he goes young. Because it's the Dutch side that he was like in the international side. I don't think that was a young squad.
I mean, besides...
The defence...
Besides one or two, you think of like De Ligt and De Jong. Yeah, you think Depay was sort of the main goal threat up front, and he's must be 26, 27. And then obviously Van Dijk at the back must be heading towards 30 if he's not already there. Yeah, it's got a few young players, but it's not Van der Beek, that kind of player.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see him next season, so we shall see.
But on to potentially Messi leaving.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't really see him going anywhere, or particularly involving money at the moment, because this sort of the way the world is at the moment, money would have been affected.
And who's affording Messi?
Who can afford, first of all, his buyout clause, which I think they said was around 650 million, and then you'll be paying 600,000 a week in wages at least, plus image rights and everything like that. And the only way that I could see it maybe panning out that a move could happen is if it was a swap deal. And I wonder, because for a few years since Neymar leaving Barcelona, there've been rumours constantly of Barca want Neymar back. And
would they do that at the expense of Messi?
But would the board, who have made some dodgy decisions before, think Neymar's 6-7 years younger than Messi, we can get a few more years out of him for someone who's only got a few years left?
I guess so. Yeah, I do see that.
It's not a decision that I would agree to, but I'm not in charge of Barcelona, believe it or not.
I think when it comes to like paying for his image rights, I think you've made that back in shirt sales.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anything like that. It is just the wages and that buyout clause.
But I do hope that one day, before both he and Ronaldo retire, that they can play for the same team. I'd just love to see it.
It would be in an all-stars kind of game, wouldn't it? I think it would. I don't think it would ever be together, especially because Ronaldo's like 35 now, isn't he? So he'll be looking to. Well, he might be in Ibra. Just keep going, or Buffon, just keep going. So we'll see. Last week on the podcast, Elliot picked the first 10 teams of the Premier League and looked at their squad, see where they can improve, and picked a player who he thinks he could improve. I've then had the task of looking at the next 10 teams and doing the exact same thing. I've had a bit more of a difficult time with my lot.
You've got some big teams, haven't you?
So there's a few that I think are genuine, a genuine discussions and stuff. Yeah. There are a few in there that's like, well, I'm stretching. Yeah. But I'll give you a reason why I'm stretching. So what I'll do is I'll just say, the team, I'll say the position, and I'll tell you the player who I think would best suit that role. Yeah. And obviously Elliot will chime in if he thinks, he's got a better suggestion potentially. Elliot's not heard these, so I've not told him this, so it'll be interesting to see. So my first team was Liverpool. What am I doing here? How am I improving that team? Obviously they need a little bit more depth in the left back position. Obviously right back they've got Alexander-Arnold and that Neco Williams who's coming through, looks brilliant. Midfielders they've got galore, got all right centre backs, left wing, right wing. I think they've got Harvey Elliott who's looking very promising on either wing. It's very easy to say that Liverpool need a striker, and that's what I've said. Because it's very easy to say. It's so easy to say. I know. Right, so I understand Liverpool. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me taking Firmino out because I think he's brilliant at what he does, but as a striker, he's not that striker. And I understand that Mane gets you like 20 goals, Salah gets you 20 goals. But imagine also having a striker that gets you 20 goals. That's a lot. So I've stretched a little bit because I don't know. Elliot, what do you think of Immobile?
That is a very good shout. He's a finisher, really, isn't he?
He can shoot with both feet. He's good in the air. With someone like Alexander-Arnold and Robertson crossing them in, you've got that presence in the box, like that striker presence in the box. Obviously, you've got Mane who can score, and I think Immobile. I think his stats for Lazio are ridiculous.
That's a very good shout. I think he was top goal scorer in Serie A this season, above Ronaldo, wasn't he?
And he's 30, so obviously you're going to get a few. You still get a few years. You're still going to get a good few years.
Particularly his style of play. He's not all about his
quick
pace.
And rapid. Yeah, exactly.
It's about being a finisher. Yeah.
So I think a striker like Immobile, I think would really suit Jurgen Klopp kind of to a T.
I think that's a very good first one. The only other position I would maybe suggest is another centre mid to sort of upgrade Wijnaldum, but then it looks like they might already be getting that in Thiago.
Oh yeah, I tried to stay away from that because I knew they were looking to get Thiago.
No, I think that's a very good start.
Right, okay, that was my most difficult one. I say my most difficult one. My second team is Manchester City. Oh my God. The first two teams I had.
Yeah.
So Man City, that one thing that they've got is depth. I think they're really very good. Jesus, Aguero, Sterling, Mahrez. They brought this new Torres. I think he brought him from Valencia. Got like Fernandinho, Foden coming in. Right back, they've got Walker, Cancelo. So I've gone left back because I still don't think Zinchenko is good. Mendy shows signs, but he's more of a Instagram, Twitter. No disrespect. It's just I haven't watched Mendy this season and gone, wow, he's a good left back.
I like his crosses, but he's not fit enough.
I think when you look at that Man City team, I think the left back position is one that is probably in need of strengthening. So he's recently just played in the Champions League final. He was on the losing side. I went with Bernat.
Okay.
So he has played under Guardiola before. When he was at Bayern Munich, and that kind of forced kind of Philip Lahm to play like that kind of CDM role, I think, because Bernat was coming in, overlapping the attacks. Today, he had a pretty good game. I think I didn't notice anything wrong with Bernat, but he's that out and out left back that he doesn't focus on pace and he doesn't focus on you've got lack of pace. I just think I don't know, just something about him that I just think he's a good left back, and I think potentially that's where I would look to.
Okay,
but obviously I'm not.
That's a good one. I would have probably gone for another centre back, even with Ake coming in, because they've got Angelino, who's been on loan at Leipzig, but then he's had a good time at Leipzig. But is he going to be first choice for however many years? I don't know. He might have another loan spell. But yeah, I think that's a good shout, Bernat. It's a bit more defensive. He can, not so much an attacking fullback. He can kind of do the dirty work a little bit more, like a Walker, because Walker's delivery's never been the best, he'd just kind of be similar on the other side. Yeah, no, I think he'd be a good fit.
Right then, okay.
Now your third one, I think I could guess that as well.
Next one is Manchester United. Right, so I think they've obviously they have some depth. Obviously, I haven't gone like Jadon Sancho, Kingsley Coman on the wings. I think when I look at the wings, obviously you've got Rashford, Greenwood, Dan James. If he starts getting some form, potentially. Obviously, he shows glimpses, but recently no. Obviously, Fernandes through the middle. Martial, he seems to be scoring some goals. I still think United probably would benefit from a out and out striker. However, I've gone centre back for Man United because barring that one centre back isn't jailed in Greece for 2 years. Obviously, we're not going to talk about that too much. Obviously, that's not the reason for this podcast. We are aware of that kind of happening, but let's move on. I don't think Lindelof he has been better. But I still don't think he's good enough. So he's good, but he's not good enough. So I've also gone with a player that we just watched tonight. However, I went for a player on the winning side. I went with Sula.
Oh, wow, yeah.
He is 24 years old. I did not know that. Have you seen the size of him?
Oh, he's enormous.
He looks like a mountain.
Imagine him next to Harry Maguire.
Yeah. Now, I understand he's had a difficult season this season because he was injured for most of it.
Yeah.
I think one of his first games back was like the Champions League game, I think it was.
Yeah, the first game back was that second leg against Chelsea.
So, obviously, we're not going to base it too much on this season. He's still 24, but the season he had last season, like the previous few seasons for Brian, have been really good. He's been solid. He's been a very, very good centre-back. And have that youth kind of he's a young player with experience, if that makes sense. He's just won the Champions League, for crying out loud, and he's won the Bundesligas with Bayern. Stick him in. I think there's that kind of assurance that they have, because paying 85 million for Maguire. Now he's a good defender. He's not world class.
Yeah,
he can be a good defender. He shows. Yeah, he's yeah. Anyway, enough. But I think with Sula, you've got that assurance that I think he could be better than Maguire. But
you think he'd be a good partner alongside him? Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that working. Yeah, although neither of them would back out of a header, so I can imagine that they both get injured heading the same pool. But I do agree that the centre back is what was needed, because the other sort of semi-obvious option would be at left back with Luke Shaw, but then they got Brandon Williams coming through. So
yeah, Brandon Williams, I know he's had a bit of a difficult time. He's a right-footed left back, and I think that can he could be exposed a little bit at that. I think,
but yeah, I'd agree with you on that, and I think the biggest issue with that is would they be able to get him away from Bayern? But I think he'd be a good fit.
Yeah, Newcastle United need a lot.
This is the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, they need a lot. So the thing is, I've gone for another centre-back with them because I think they need... So they spent 40 million on Joelinton, and obviously I don't think they're ready to give up on that yet because they've spent 40 million on him. Yeah. So Maximum looks good. I think he's got some quality. Yes. And I know the Matty Longstaff, is it Matty Longstaff, who's just signed a new long-term contract? Yeah, I think one of the Longstaff brothers has. And obviously you've got the other Longstaff. Shelby can still do a job. Almiron's doing all right. And I was looking at the defence thinking, oh, okay, they could probably do with a defender. Now, this one's probably stretching a little bit, but I went for Chris Smalling.
Okay, yeah.
So he's coming back from United. He's coming back to United on loan for Roma. Now, obviously, it's still up in the air whether Solskjaer wants him in his part of his plans. Nothing's really kind of been said about that, so I don't know. However, I think he's still capable. He's Premier League experience. Yeah, he's probably, towards the later end of his 20s, early 30s, but he's got that experience. So I reckon he can be a captain potentially. Obviously, Lascelles is still their captain, but he's kind of got that, and he's had a very good season for Roma because he didn't want to leave. I don't think he wanted. They brought him back early, but I don't think he wanted to leave Roma. Yeah,
I remember them bringing him back early because he couldn't play in the Europa League.
No. So what are your thoughts? I think
Yeah, I think that's a very good fit. I think that it would be doable on Newcastle's budget. I don't think United would want too much more than maybe 15 million. And yeah, Newcastle play predominantly with 5 at the back, so with 3 centre backs. And the most looking by this, the 3 most played centre backs have been Federico Fernandez, Jamal Lascelles, and Paul Dummett. So it'll be an easy sort of slot in for Paul Dummett, and I think that improves that back line very well. And like you say, it's like having another captain, whether he's got the armband or not.
So that's brilliant. So Sheffield United, cracking season, brilliant season. Obviously, I would say they're in need of a goalkeeper. That they've recently signed Aaron Ramsdale, which I think
very good signing
for the money that they paid for him. That I reckon they could earn their money back on that. I think he's very good there.
Smart signing.
Probably would benefit maybe from another centre back, but my main priority for them, I think, is a striker.
Right.
I think they need a striker because Billy Sharp he's all right. Obviously, Ollie McBurney's all right, and McGoldrick all right. But have you noticed what I've said? They're all right. They're all right.
Is it Mousset as well? But again, another.
I think is he not more of a winger?
I think they play sort of 3-5-2 with it being wing backs.
Oh right. Okay.
But yeah. So, yeah, again, he's not going to sort of be a massive game changer.
So they could potentially look to a loan market, or they could look to pay him permanently. Now, I've looked at this team's squad, and what do you think of Tammy Abraham for Sheffield United?
I think that would be more a loan than a permanent.
I'm thinking more loan as well, and I think Abraham will. I'm not saying he will play. I'm not saying he's going to leave Chelsea, but I'm assuming he'll try and fight for his spot. To fight it off of Timo Werner is going to be difficult.
Yes.
And I think with the start that Abraham had, and he can do it in the Premier League, I think he'll want to play games.
Yeah.
And maybe going to a team like Sheffield United, because he did it at Villa last season before, didn't he?
In the Championship, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe a loan move for Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
Could be a thing.
I could see that working because undoubtedly Werner's going to be first choice at Chelsea. And then if they want something different off the bench, they've got Giroud. I can see them moving on Batshuayi, but then, I'm not sure Abraham is going to be particularly happy sort of playing third choice. So, I can see a loan move working, at least sort of a 6-month loan move if they decide to move Giroud on in January, something like that. But he's more similar to Werner than he is Giroud. So unless Werner got an injury, I can see a loan move happening for him. Because, I think he's still very young, so any sort of permanent transfer fee would be a lot. Yeah. And out of Sheffield United's budget, I think. But I can see that working. I can see him doing well alongside someone like Ollie McBurney.
No, it's going well for me so far. I didn't think it was going to go too well, but you seem to agree, so I'm happy with that. Southampton, pretty much, this was quite easy because they've got absolutely no centre-backs left. I think they've recently signed a new one from French League, and Vestergaard, but that's pretty much it. But I've gone Juan Foyth as potentially loan move for, because obviously Walker Peters just gone to Southampton, and I think a loan move for Foyth. I think it's needed. I think he does need to play football, and I think he's kind of expressed interest to potentially playing football. I think Leeds maybe being interested in him. I've seen links, but I'll come on to why I don't know in a second, because obviously Tottenham's my next team. But for me, I just think he can be good. He's still very young. I think he's 20, so he's still quite young. But I don't know. He has that potential to be a really, really good defender, but he needs game time. And under Pochettino, he didn't really get that. And looking at the squad this season with Tottenham, I'm not sure he might get that at centre back. Again, I'll come on to it in a second. Yeah. But potentially Foyth. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see it working, because if he's alongside someone like Vestergaard, because he's a shorter centre back, isn't he? Foyth. He's not like a 6'6", 6'7". I think he'd be a good fit. The only other position maybe is a replacement for Højbjerg, but then
I was semi-thinking something like that.
I think Romeo, who's been more of a squad player, would fit into that position more now. But another one which I can understand, and I think is a good choice.
Tottenham. So, they need another striker for Kane. That is beyond any shadow of a doubt. But they obviously still have Kane. Obviously, he won't score in August. Then he'll score bucket loads of goals till March. He'll get injured. And then he'll play like the last game of the season.
I bet he's really happy, isn't he? Because the Premier League season isn't starting in August this season.
It. It'll start now. It'll start going off for one.
Yeah.
Scoring nice and late. So, obviously easy to say. I think they're doing all right on the wings. Obviously, Bergwijn, Lucas, Son. Obviously, Son could play. Centre mids, they've got enough now. My word, they've got enough. Centre backs, they've got Sanchez and Alderweireld. I think Tang Tanganga is still looking around there.
Yeah.
Left back, I still think there's an assurance with the left back. But right back, they need a right back.
Yeah.
Aurier is all right, but he just does things that make me go, what? Why? What?
He could be a real liability at times, can't he? He just sort of dives into challenges when there's sort of no need.
No, exactly. He takes a gamble a lot, and a lot of the time it just doesn't work. So it's difficult, this one, because very, very recently in the press, Jose Mourinho has heaped a lot of praise on Kimmich, who would be all right, because, you know, he could play right back, centre mid. Yeah, he's very good. But I know Tottenham have been kind of linked with Max Aarons from Norwich right back. He's still very young. He's quite quick, and he is he's a good defensive right back, and I think someone like that would suit Tottenham very well. That youth, I don't know why they got rid of Walker Peters, and the reason why I mentioned about Foyth is because towards the end of Pochettino and the beginning of Mourinho, I think he has been transitioned into a right back.
Right.
And the games that he's played at right back, he's been all right. Like he's been all right.
Yeah.
Tanganga's played at left back, centre back, and right back, and each one of those games he's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
He's been very, very good, and especially with Ledley King now as the first team as coach at Tottenham. Yes, but expects good defensive display soon. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you think with Tottenham?
So yeah, I'd agree with right back. There's been talks of, I think, AC Milan being in for Aurier, and if that were to go through, then Tottenham would be left with no sort of recognisable right backs. And so I think it's the obvious one. Aarons, makes sense. He's young. He was one of the brighter sparks for Norwich last season. He'd definitely be within budget, and makes sense. The only thing that I can think with letting go of Walker Peters is that if Mourinho was insistent on him wanting Højbjerg, and Southampton said that any deal has to involve Walker Peters because of the season that he had with them,
I think they're two separate deals. I think they've said Højbjerg and Walker Peters are they're separate. They're not part of the same deal. So, but I get what you mean though. So, but right back, I think definitely.
Yeah, Aaron's a good shout.
So West Brom, it's you alluded it on last week, obviously with Leeds. For a newly promoted team to come up, it's quite difficult to think who do they need, because they probably need a lot to stay in the Premier League. I think one of my first things that I looked to was strikers for West Brom, because Charlie Austin, I'm sure he's still all right. He's hilarious. He's an absolute wind up, but I still think he's there, and I think I can't remember who they spent a lot of money on.
It wasn't Pereira, was it? Matthias Pereira?
No, that's the right.
That's
right
the attacking midfielder.
Not right back. Sorry, attacking midfielder. Wrong Pereira.
Oh yeah.
But I think they spent a lot of money on another striker that just didn't come in.
Right.
And they probably need a lot. So I've looked in the striker market, and I've gone for a loan move for Ryan Brewster. Yeah. Because he had a very good season at Swansea. Brilliant. And he is a finisher. I think that's one thing that I've noticed, is that he's a very, very good finisher. Newly promoted team. Obviously, I still don't think... I think Liverpool will loan him out again, but maybe loan him in the Premier League to be like, right, okay, you'll play against these 19 other Premier League teams, and let's see... Well, 18, because you won't play against Liverpool. But let's see how you get on. With a newly promoted team, obviously, he'll probably start every single game for them. Could be a good opportunity to see how he does. What do you think?
Yeah, makes sense. Very good shout, because he had a extremely good second half to the season when he was at Swansea, and but again, it's one of those that they kind of need to strengthen all over. I would probably look at fullbacks as well, because they got Darnell Furlong and Connor Townsend, neither of which really have any Premier League experience. Furlong played, I'm just looking at it here, Furlong played 3 games for QPR when they were last in the Premier League. That's how long ago that was.
Oh, that's a while ago.
But he's still young, surprisingly. Well, 24. But yeah, I think striker is a good pick, because they've got Austin, or they've got Hal Robson-Kanu, and good pick.
West Ham need a lot as well. They just do. I have gone for a centre-back again for West Ham. I think all around they probably need a bit of strengthening. I think they've done well with Bowen. I think Antonio could be scoring some goals. Soychek has signed, so that's all good. So I found it difficult to find a centre-back that I think would suit West Ham because, it's been a difficult one. I went with John Stones. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's amazing, if you know what I mean. Like I don't think he's been really good. But if he signs for someone like West Ham, a bit lower, they're a bit more of a strengthening, in that centre-back role, I can kind of see a Gary Cahill at Palace with Stones, maybe a new environment, fresh start, to show you shouldn't have let me go, and then obviously he's playing, because I think Stones is pretty much out now for Man City. I can't see him getting back in the squad.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
And someone like John Stones wouldn't do too bad at West Ham, I don't think. I think because he was all right at Everton, wasn't he, John Stones? I think obviously that's why he went to Man City.
Yeah, I would on West Ham. I would have gone for right back really, because Diop and Ogbonna. I think I'd put him in over Ogbonna. But centre back it makes sense. But I'd have gone right back because they got Ryan Fredericks at right back.
I know. Yeah, he's not a very defensive right back. Yeah.
Even left back Cresswell's ageing. You can still take set pieces, but it makes sense. I'd put Stones in with Diop, but well within budget. Someone who I expect to be moving on this summer. Makes sense.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Wolves. Now, trying to find a player to improve the Wolves side is difficult because they're a very, very good side. I think they've in every position they're kind of doing well.
Yeah.
Centre back. You could argue that they probably need one more centre back, but for some reason I kept drawing towards a centre attacking midfielder. Creative midfielder. Now, that's not to say Moutinho and Neves, aren't creative. They are. But they're also very defensive.
Yeah.
So, they're very centre mid. And I think that attacking midfielder playing off of Jimenez be game changing, provided Jimenez stays. So I've absolutely stretched, because I could not find any Portuguese centre attacking midfielders available.
João Felix.
So I've really stretched here. Now, James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I think wages obviously would be difficult, but they do want rid of him, Real Madrid. I don't think he's in Real Madrid's plans at all. And I don't know why, but I keep picturing myself, James Rodriguez playing for Wolves. I could just see it working.
Is it because he played for Porto?
That's it. Portugal, Porto. Yeah.
And I wonder whether that was when Nuno was at Porto as well. I think they've been linked with him. It might have been last summer. But that would be a very good fit. I was wondering where you were going with that, but no, I can definitely see it working. And they have, although more often than not, they've kind of started with two through the middle of just Moutinho and Neves. They did play a lot of games with 3 through the middle where they have Dendoncker in with them.
Yeah.
And so, I can see that working, that James Rodriguez as a number 10 comes in and creates for 2 or 3 up front. My first thought was centre-back, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
The obvious pick being, because he's Portuguese, Ruben Dias at Benfica.
He's Portuguese.
And he's been linked with them a number of times. But I think James Rodriguez would make that move as well, because obviously he's never played in the Premier League. He's moving towards the end of his career.
I think the difficulty maybe more this season is there isn't European football to tempt him with. But I'd like to see him in the Premier League, and I said if a team like Wolves, I think could work.
Yeah.
But those are my opinions. I know a few of them I was a little bit stretching, but I think all in all,
I think it's very good. Very good selection.
I quite enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Obviously, if you're listening and follow us on Twitter, please let us know if you've got any opinions for anyone that you think whatever team that you support needs improving, and where to go from there. And I hope you enjoyed that. So, we come on to No Context News, the end of the podcast where me and Elliot challenge each other to find the most random news headlines from around the world that really make us think. I don't know what Elliot goes for. He has no idea what I go for. We say the headline and we end the podcast. My turn this week. Obviously, I've been known for the puns, but I've got one. I've got one this week. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I've got one. So, here we go. It's from the Daily Mirror, because
classic.
Aldi shopper says Jesus appeared on a potato, and even sceptical husband agrees. So we thank you very much for listening to the podcast. We are TO Goal Podcast on Twitter. Please give us a follow. Through on Goal on YouTube as well. Give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the podcast. Do you know what my favourite thing about that headline is? Is that she's gone to the Daily Mirror, gone, there's Jesus, and they've gone, well, maybe. No, but my husband, right, he's quite sceptical.
Look, we'll get
and
him on the phone.
Even he thinks it looks like Jesus. So thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. I've been Sam.
I've been Elliot. Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.